this video.
Good evening, welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. My guest this evening is State of Connecticut Department of Revenue Services Commissioner Scott Jackson.
Peter,
Scott,
great to be with you again.
Hi, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks.
What's going on?
We're getting through the end of our tax season, so we're taking a big deep breath over there at Department of Revenue Services. It was a good year on tax collection. We had a lot of returns come through the door for the April 15th deadline, and we have kind of two peaks: the April 15th, and then 6 months later, those who took the extension. So the interim time is where we get a lot of our other work done.
And so if you don't file back by October 15th, you're pretty much...
Yeah, then that's unfortunate if you're supposed to file.
Yeah, right.
Because penalties and interest do apply.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people don't know this, but we actually share information with the IRS as well. It takes a little while for that to come through. But there are some people who think that maybe they can file on the federal side, but they can stay away from the state side, and we won't find them.
Yeah, no, that ain't happening.
Yeah, we will find you. There aren't, but 90-something% of the taxpayers in the state of Connecticut pay on time and do it correctly, do it properly. We have another percentage, maybe 7 or 8%, who try to do it right, but maybe make some mistakes along the way. And then we have a small percentage of people who make us run around and chase them. So it's what we call in the tax world voluntary compliance. We have a really high rate here in Connecticut, which is good. It means that people understand what they're doing. They're investing in their communities. They're investing in their roads and bridges and schools when they pay their taxes, and they do their best to do it the right way.
Excellent. So what else is going on up at the agency?
Well, we have obviously we have a new governor and
yes.
A lot of new commissioners as well. So we're trying to collaborate and figure out how we can work together as best we can as well. Usually the tax office is it stands alone. It is its own thing. But my history, working in government for 25 years in a lot of different places, a lot of different capacities. I always feel like my number one goal is to find collaboration points where we can. And so I'm really excited about working with a lot of the new commissioners, especially Dave Lehman from Economic and Community Development. I think he's got some great ideas about how to push economic development forward in the state of Connecticut. And we have a lot of overlap with my old agency, the Department of Labor.
Okay.
So Commissioner Kurt Westby over there, we talk regularly about things that we're working on to make sure that we're in a position to assist each other as necessary. I mean, Labor collects taxes as well. They collect the unemployment insurance tax in the state of Connecticut. So it's a much smaller tax office, to be sure. They collect about $500 million a year, and we collect about $20 billion a year. But that doesn't mean we can't coordinate, especially in, as it relates to business taxes. We want to make this a very business-friendly state. Absolutely. And so getting a letter from us on a Tuesday and a letter from them on a Wednesday may not make the best sense.
Yeah, but
so trying to coordinate some of our efforts is something that I think can have real value add to the businesses in Connecticut.
Now, as far as right now, when we're taping the show, the legislative session is almost over in a couple days, but thoughts, feelings about what's going on up at the Capitol? It
is almost over. There's legislation, and then there's the budget.
Yes.
And so the budget seems to be moving forward.
Okay.
It could be voted on really at any moment. So it's a slightly larger budget than prior years, but we also have had better tax returns over the last couple of years. That's why the rainy day fund is the largest it's ever been, because tax returns have been good. We had a situation last year where by law certain dollars that individuals held overseas had to come back and be repatriated.
Right.
Which led to what everyone presumed was going to be, a 1 year real big increase in the tax returns. But something strange happened, and we're still running closer to that pace, that what we felt was an inflated pace, than we were from the prior year. So the revenues are strong. Connecticut has at least 2 different economies. So there are people like you and me. We get a paycheck. We get a W-2 at the end of the year.
Yep.
The withholding on those W-2s is really strong, which is a good indicator about Connecticut's economy. Other people who have ownership and ownership stakes in things like hedge funds,
yes,
they get something that's known as a K-1, and they pay essentially estimates every quarter. I think I'm going to earn this, and so I'll pay by the quarter, and then you true it up at the end of the year. And those estimates are also running very well. So if withholding is running well and the estimates are running well, and personal income is half of the state's revenue source, it looks pretty good right now.
Excellent. So do you think we're going to go into a special session, or do you think as of when session is over this week?
Well, I think there are some big issues that are still out there. I think there needs to be a real discussion about tolls,
right?
With sort of real data and a firm understanding about what the proposal is, as opposed to speculation as to what the proposal might be. Right. There were a couple of things that were left on the table. It doesn't look like there's going to be a movement on sports gaming. It doesn't look like there's going to be a movement on marijuana legalization. And so those are kind of big policy decisions,
yes,
that are still left on the table. And so I think there may be the will to do a special session for one or all of those items.
Exactly. And we are actually just about to finish up with the fiscal year for the state of Connecticut. How are things looking?
Things are looking very well. Like I referenced, the tax receipts have been strong all year long, and so the rainy day fund is gonna end up the largest in the history of the state. We have a couple of other sort of funds for managing volatility that are going to be flush. Now, that being said, we still have a long way to go,
right,
and a lot of it is confidence, Pete. And so you walk around, and if I say something, a statement of fact like the rainy day fund is as large as it's ever been,
right,
because tax receipts have been strong and they continue to be strong.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like that out there in the world sometimes, does it?
No.
So we have to say it. We have to say it confidently. We have to share good news. We are exceptionally good in Connecticut, in my estimation. Born and raised here, at sharing bad news. We're not as good at sharing good news.
No. What else is going on with the agency?
Something's going to happen with all agencies in a couple of years. 2022. A lot of the benefits packages changed dramatically in 2022.
Okay.
So we're anticipating an exodus of employees statewide. That's a lot of experience. It's a lot of good people who will be eligible to retire and who will choose to do so because they think it's the right decision for them and for their families. And for that, I congratulate them and thank them for their service. But it gives us a unique opportunity now to onboard a lot of new people who have different kinds of experience, who are, for example, incredibly tech savvy, who can help us look at our processes and look at the way we do things, and suggest changes. It's high time that we did that. We as an agency are actually upgrading our system. We started on May 1st. It's a 4-year project with certain deliverables in each one of those years, and the vendor. I had a good time with the vendor. The vendor essentially said to me, Scott, you can give us great people to work on the project, and you'll get a great product with these delivery dates.
Yeah.
You can give us your worst people, and we're going to have a bad product, but it's going to be delivered on these dates. You can give us no one, and you'll get a mediocre product, and it'll still be delivered on those dates. So it's the way their methodology does not allow for cost overruns. It does not allow for delays. They are going to move at their speed, and it is up to us to keep up with them. And I really appreciate that philosophy.
So how's the project looking so far?
Well, we're 1 month into it, and I think we're doing very well. We've set up a schedule to try to group. We have 43 or so tax types, and so we're trying to loop the tax types together and make sure that we try not to have, or we don't want to have, like businesses are sometimes they're doing multiple remittances. They might have a sales tax and a withholding tax and a corporation tax. So we want to lump all the business taxes together and deliver them as a package, so businesses don't have to jump from one system to another every time they're trying to pay their taxes.
And speaking of paying of taxes, if people want more information on the agency and if they want to go to the website, where can they go?
They can go to www.ct.gov/DRS. Or what I typically do, and I use Google.
I do too.
Is if you Google CT DRS, it goes right to our page.
There you go. And people can find all sorts of helpful information on the website?
Absolutely. Everything we do, we're kind of obligated. We're the tax office, so we do nothing in secret. Everything is in public. So everything that we have is there, all of our forms, all of our publications, all of our how-tos. There are some videos out there. We want to do a little bit more in videos. I don't know about you, but every time I have to do something I've never done before, I YouTube it and watch somebody else do it.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I think that expanding our video archive is going to be a useful tool.
Cool. Commissioner Jackson, would you want to stick around for another segment?
Certainly.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
And welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show, sitting here with DRS Commissioner Scott Jackson. Commissioner Jackson, welcome back.
Thank you.
So you and I were talking in the break, and yes, we're going to date ourselves, but we age very nicely. You and I have known each other 25 years.
Yes, I think I may have aged a little nicer than you, but I will leave that up to others to determine.
Thank you, Commissioner. Wow.
Yes, 25 years ago, working on campaigns is where we met, and
that's right.
It's it is what I consider to be a blessing, and it is one of the blessings of living in Connecticut, that even as we have changed our roles over time, our circles continue to intersect, because in this state you get to see the same people. I tell folks all the time, you have to be nice all the time, because you're going to run into someone again, and they may be above you, they may be below you, so you want to leave people with a good impression.
Exactly. So What else is going on with the agency? What else are you guys up to?
See, we talked about some of our challenges
Yep.
In terms of personnel. Personnel is also one of our strengths. It is sort of remarkable sometimes to walk around the agency and engage in people when they're working on a project. Their level of expertise and their level of professionalism is really unmatched. You can. Our tax code is incorporated in Title 12 of the Connecticut General Statutes, which is about that thick. And
good.
The people who know it the best are 500 people in my building.
Is one of them you?
No, I am the one that they send to do the talking. But
Gotcha.
when I get a question, I turn around to the experts
There you
because
go.
it's certainly not. It's not my intention to give anyone any advice that is not perfectly accurate. And
Right.
and they one of the things that can also be challenging sometimes is the accuracy that is required.
Yeah.
It's an accuracy of language and communication. And so sometimes you say, well, why are you taking 100 words to say one simple thing? Because it is the culture of the agency to provide perfect accuracy in its delivery. So that's why, when you read a tax publication, you say, my goodness, I just have one question. Why do I have to read 40 pages to get the answer? It is really designed so that the correct answer is there. But the real truth is, we're here to answer questions. We're not machines. We're not robots. So anyone with a question can certainly go to www.ct.gov/DRS and pick up the phone number there and give us a call with the question you have, and we'll give you direction.
Speaking of impeccable people, one person you and I both have to shout out to is Jim Politis in your office.
Jim and I started on the same day. Jim is my communications director.
Yes.
We started on the same day.
Did you?
Yes, we did.
I didn't know that.
And it was also the day of the office picnic. So we got to.
Oh, good.
We did a half day in the office, and then got to go to a park
Hang out.
and meet the employees. So it was actually kind of an interesting way to start out. For me, though, I forgot the shoes I wanted to wear.
Uh-oh.
And so I ended up having to go in a suit because I didn't have the right shoes to switch into my casual gear. But then again, I wear a suit every day.
Yeah, there you go.
It's pretty useful for me. But Jim, and it's part of. I think it's part of our philosophy.
Yeah.
We need to engage the taxpayer. We need to communicate with the taxpayer
Oh, yeah.
in whatever methods work for them. And so Jim, coming in from a lot of government work, but he was also a teacher, and so he understands the different ways that people learn. And so he's been really useful to the agency in terms of changing up some of the ways that we communicate with different audiences to make sure that we're not just sort of yelling into a vacuum, but we're actually targeting the people who need to hear the lesson. One of the things that Jim is in charge of that we just started, we hadn't done outreach in a long time.
No?
Years.
Really?
And so we started to do a public outreach program.
Okay.
And we started with some old friends of mine at the Spanish American Merchants Association. They run classes for entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And so we decided to run sort of an introduction to tax module for these folks who are starting businesses. Now, tax is hard enough.
Yeah.
And tax in a bilingual environment is really hard. So we decided to go. We knew that the folks at SAMA would be supportive of us and help us through it, and they did. And so we did classes in Hartford and New Haven. Actually, just had graduations a couple of days ago.
Nice.
And so we're getting back into the business of going out there. We're gonna go out to chambers and other organizations. We want to remind folks that the tax man is not necessarily just a bureaucrat behind a desk, but we live in the neighborhoods. We speak your language, and we're here to help you get your obligation in the way that's most effective for you.
Now, how did the idea of you and Jim going out on your speaking tour come about?
Literally, we just talked about it.
There you go.
We just talked about it. And when I was at the Department of Labor, I had done work with the Spanish American Merchants Association. So I said, I know exactly who we can start with. And we called our friends over there, and they said, absolutely, we have a class running right now. We'll get you in Hartford, we'll get you in New Haven. And it was a fantastic exercise. And we got some of our young, dynamic folks who actually went out there and conducted the class. I just stood in the back and with Jim. We just watched it. It was really a great opportunity for some of our young and rising superstars to get out there in the field and show what they could do. And I think everybody got a lot out of it.
How long was the class? A couple of weeks?
The class is a couple of months.
Okay.
We did a 3-hour day.
Oh, nice.
And so, these are people who are coming in after work, but they're hungry.
Yeah.
They're ready to make their way in this world, and so they know what they're getting into, and they still come and they put this effort into it.
Very cool. So, like you said, you guys haven't done community outreach in a while. You guys
in a few years. So we built our slide deck, and we have after action meetings to make sure we should tweak this, we should tweak that, and so we're really refining the program, and that's one of the things that we believe in. We believe in sort of cycles of continuous improvement.
Absolutely.
Just because it worked one day doesn't mean that it's going to work as well the next day, and you should always review what you've done to make sure that you're putting out the best product possible.
So what else are we going? What else is going on that we want to educate everybody about with the agency of the Department of Labor?
Revenue Services. I once answered my phone a couple of weeks ago. Good afternoon, Department of Labor. Oh wait, but fortunately it was someone I knew, so they just laughed at me.
Oh no.
I mean, we are sort of a steady Eddie agency.
Right.
So we're not advocates really. So this was an interesting budgetary season because it's my first one where I'm not advocating for positions or policy. My job is really to make sure that the agency has the resources to enact what the legislature says.
Yeah.
And so some things are easy. If you change a tax rate, that's easy. If you add a tax, that's getting a little bit more complicated. But we have to create the forms for it.
Yep.
Most of our transactions are actually digital, so but we still have to create the paper form and digital form, and so that's really kind of the stuff that we do immediately after session ends and before the extended returns come in October. So we'll be running full speed on that pretty soon.
Now, how many people are in the agency?
As of this morning, we had 563. Now,
as of this morning, okay.
As of this morning, we on the day that the income tax came through in '92, when it was enacted in '92, we had a little over 1,100. So we are definitely doing more with less. Technology has been a real boon to that.
Oh yeah.
But this is why we always have to kind of review our processes, because we just don't have the space for inefficiency.
No. Now, obviously, when you go online and do your income tax, it's a lot quicker to file online rather than getting the paper check.
It sure is. It's quicker. It's easier. Last year I did my state income tax online in 6 minutes. This year it was 5 minutes. We start with.
So you shaved it by a minute.
Yes. Well, I knew what to expect on the Chet credit this year. So that's how I was able to save that time. We've worked hard to make it very simple. It may not be the prettiest thing that you'll see on the web, but it's very functional. And when the system that we're migrating to, it will be even simpler and even cleaner.
Now, once you do your taxes online, you can basically go ahead and the your refund, if you're getting a refund, obviously that goes directly into your bank account, or do you, so you don't have to mail a check?
I finished my taxes at 11:56
Okay.
p.m. on a Friday night this year, and Wednesday morning when I got up, my refund was in my account. It's
That's quick.
Yeah, it's very quick. It's very efficient. We do have some fraud detectors built into the system in the background. I can't tell you what they are.
That's okay.
But if you don't trip over any of those fraud detectors, it's incredibly quick.
Oh yeah, yeah. My mom does my taxes, and she did mine in afternoon.
Well, I know your mother, and I know she's good with the numbers, so
Yeah.
I would trust her doing your taxes more than I would trust you doing your taxes.
What are you telling me, Commissioner? What are you telling me, Commissioner?
I was just saying 25 years of experience is giving me some insight.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Happy to do it.
Yeah, I know you're not. What else do we want to tell everybody in the little bit more time we have left?
Just really, the website is a fantastic resource. Most people do not like to do taxes, think about taxes, talk about taxes, and I understand that.
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of it either. But anything that you need is absolutely on the website, and you can contact us, and we'll get back to you with all of the information necessary to do what you need to do.
Cool. Commissioner Scott Jackson from DRS, I want to thank you for coming down. We'll see you soon.
All right, we'll see you soon.
You got it. On behalf of Scott Jackson, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks. Good night, and we'll see you next time.